They're all in the gate. They're off. Kingsbury Dream going for the lead. Here's Katie Milady now moving up. In between horses, Ouvois. Journeys moves up. Then it's Trail Ridge Road, White Lies. Kingsbury Dream came out of the gate pretty well, but now has been relegated to last as they move into the first turn. Katie Milady leads the way, racing in second, Ouvois. In third position, Journeys. And then it's Trail Ridge Road fourth. A 3.5, 4-length gap to White Lies and trailing Kingsbury Dream. 24.20 for the opening quarter. Katie Milady trying to win the race in her honor. She leads a little more than a length. Ouvois right there tracking second. Journeys is third. In fourth position on the mid-back stretch, Trail Ridge Road. And then to the outside, White Lies. Kingsbury Dream trails 8 lengths behind this long-time leader. And they run into the far turn. Katie Milady keeps her lead. Ouvois has been tracking every step of the way. Journeyist on the outside is third. Trail Ridge Road along the rail starting to move up. And then it's 2 more back to White Lies and Kingsbury Dream. They come to the top of the stretch. It's Katie Milady still with the lead. Ouvois second. Around the turn or in the stretch. Katie Milady comes off the turn. A 2 on top. Ouvois trying to get by on the outside second. Trail Ridge Road third. In fourth position, Journeys inside the final furlong. And she's going to do it. Katie Milady's going to win the race in her honor. How about that? She's striding clear in deep stretch. Katie Milady, Julio Felix, a 6-length winner. Very tight for second. The 2024 Katie Milady handicap at Hawthorne goes to, how about that, Katie Milady?
Katie Milady. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday at Hawthorne. We are joined by the legendary Stephen Walsh. He's taking over for Jim Miller.
Yay.
Steve, how are you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. I'm only legendary in your mind and mine. I don't think anyone else's, but I do appreciate it.
I feel like the oddball out not being named Steve today, to be honest.
Too many Steves out there, huh?
Hey, you can be a Steve just for a day. I'll give you the pass.
True.
They have authority.
We can go with Stephanie. You could be called Stephanie today.
See, it's that easy.
Let's still fill out. Well, oddball out.
I wanted to play that replay. Look, it's a race on the card. She's going to dominate. She's really Katie Milady we're talking about. You're already coming up with another horse. I can look in your eyes. But listen,
I think you got to start there, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, listen, the thing with Katie Milady is she shows up every time, especially on turf, and she doesn't have a lot of starts. I'll give you that. She's a 6-year-old mare. She's got 14 starts, but she's won 8 times, and Michelle Boyce brings her to run every single time. And I guess they're just picking their spots with these stake races at this point. They're not even worried about running in an open allowance. They just want to bring her here, take the money, and run. She's 3 to 5 morning line. I don't want to spend too much time on the race, but let's look at it a little bit because she's like the big name on the card today, and I think we would, be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about her and the race. So let's move over to the PPs over there, and I wanted to get your thought on who you think might be able to upset.
We don't have an update on the turf. We did
get
a good amount of rain. I would imagine this race stays on, but I'm not sure about the rest. We're still waiting for a call as far as that. So
okay,
Hawthorne players, keep that in mind.
I was going to dive into the weather shortly thereafter this conversation, and so I was a little worried about that. And I do have some turf races that I capped, so I'll have to keep that mindful. So if we do come off, most likely this one will stay on.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, Katie Milady, here she is, 3 to 5. I don't know. Look, if there's one horse that can maybe run with her early, I was thinking maybe the Chris Block runner can do something, but that one has lost to Katie Milady so many times. Although many moons ago, back on October 8th of 2022, Trail Ridge Road did beat Katie Milady by 2 lengths. But other than that, what were you guys thinking?
I mean, I think you have to start with her. And I mean, you know where Katie Milady's going to be. She's going to be on the lead. So she's going to take this field to him and say, if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to work for it. She's going to be on the front end. She's going to be dominant. And that's really where she's going to get her trip, right? It's a tough read because it's unlikely her stablemate number 3 Journeyist is going to run with her. She could, like, she's quick enough, but just tactically, probably not. And then it gets tricky with the 2 Patty Miller runners as Wanda Strong wheels right back, a horse that set a lone lead back on August 8th, but had the race flow in her favor. It was slow early, very slow late, and she's not going to get that with Katie Milady, so she might not even be quick enough to make the lead, even if they try. So again, That's a feather in the cap to Katie Milady. That puts Trail Ridge Road kind of in a tricky spot, because if these horses are running their race, she's one that it can definitely win. She's third off. She's got progressive number. She has back class. They had to force to get into the race back on July 14th, just based on the complexion of the field, the rail draw, etc. But that's not her ideal trip. Again, I think Trail Ridge Road could beat her, but it's tough from a pace standpoint.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I just want to sit back and watch greatness. Steve, what do you think is going to happen here?
I pretty much agree with Emily. I think for purposes of playing this race, if you're betting, I think you could make a case for Trail Ridge Road, but that case completely depends on, is Wanda Strong going to try to push this horse? And, it would pretty much have to be a suicide mission to, take that horse out.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's kind of the only condition you can really make a case for, I'm going to play this race. Otherwise, Katie Milady is just single and everything, probably not going to lose.
And they might try to go on a suicide mission with Wanda Strong, just for the fact that White Lies is in the race, and White Lies is not one that really has a lot of early speed. If they go kind of moderate early on, they went fast early and fast late last out, so that's why she was so far off the pace, but still ended up making up ground. If they don't go as fast, White Lies doesn't have to be as far back. But also, White Lies, you could make a case that arguably she might be a little bit better on the dirt, at least her current form. So, it's tricky. It's really going to come down to the rider's race. But at least with Katie Milady, while we're making kind of question marks with some of the others, at least with Katie Milady what tactically they're going to do.
Yeah, the pick 5, the early pick 5, do you guys know what the carryover is what's the typical, pull by the time we get to post time? Because the way the early part of the cards go, or the cards going, there's a couple of singles out there potentially, and maybe you could do
no
$5
carryover today, by the way. No carryover.
No carryover. Okay.
No.
So I was thinking maybe a very
Yeah.
expensive pick 5, and not expensive one, but do a $5 pick 5, and I have a few singles and maybe hit something like that. Steve DeCaspers is listening. Good morning, Hawthorne.
You know what I would say, honestly, if that's the case, you should consider the place pick 8, because if you have a bunch of singles early on,
there you go.
It's an 8% takeout. I mean, no, or at least do both, right? If you're going to go in one and the other, because that seems like it's been an overlay, don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, I've never played that ticket. I don't think in my life. Maybe once did Arlington have it? I don't know, but maybe I played it once in my life, and actually today maybe I'll play it.
I think they had some version of it, but I'm contractually obligated to say it's not as cool as our version. So
okay.
And there's no single digit takeout in horse racing landscape other than us.
Hey, Steve, we're not competing with Arlington anymore.
That's true. In my heart, I still am, though.
I know.
I always am.
All right. Hey, I'm going to go to race 1. I have I don't know what happened here. Hold up. My PPs restarted on me. And here we go. My bad. back to the PPs, and boom. All right. So race 1, it's a maiden special weight. I was looking at a single here. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Dominant D, but I kind of like.
I think a lot of people are going to look at the 5.
The 5? Oh, the 5 too. Excuse me. Dominant D and the 5. Right.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking at the 5. I actually had 2, 4, 5 on my pick 5. That was going to be. That had 3 singles on it, and I was gonna play for like $20.
That's a painful start to me. That's such a painful route to go.
Yeah. So this one here,
all 3 favorites to start off.
Well, it was gonna be like a $20 pick 5. There's a lot of 5s in here in my pick 5 too. But I was gonna try and beat the 5 and the 4 with Good Yeg. And I know it's got Uola on there, and you have Carlos Ramirez, who's, 1 for 31, but has 5 seconds. But I feel like, if you can get past, if there's a question mark with the Ravelli runner, and you're not so sure about Dominant D, I was thinking Good Yeg could work out a trip here. And maybe be doing some of the best running late, and 7-2, not the best price, but I think I'm going to get an overlay on this runner, and it's one that I wanted to include. I didn't like the trip last time, and I'm hoping I can get a better trip than that. And we actually beat Dominant D2 back. And if you're thinking Ravelli doesn't have that one all hyped up, which he usually does, 2-year-old speed, 2 and 3-year-old or maiden special weight speed, first time starters. That's what he's good at. But Good Yeg is one that might finally get off the schneid, is where I'm getting at after 15 races at 7-2, but most likely 5-1 on the morning line or the post time.
I'm going to say something just kind of real quick as an overview. That one of the things that we kind of tweaked a little bit, and you'll see this on Thursday's card as well, is starting off the card with this type of race, because you have a horse like the 5 for Ravelli that if this horse is live and ready to run, he's the horse to beat for sure, because it's kind of a mid. The field's pretty mid. But you'll be able to get a look at the horse. You'll be able to get a look at the board, and especially with these type of runners, you're going to know if the horse is 2-1, is very cold on the board, right?
I don't think it'll be 2-1 though.
Right. So, but if it is, then that can give you some options.
That would be shocking.
Or if you don't like the way the horse looks, et cetera. It's starting off that sequence so you can make some decisions. So I thought I preferred just trying to split in terms of like shorter price runners on going in right now. Like, let's say this was like leg 3 and I didn't have those options. I would give the 5 the edge over the 4, just in terms of getting a slightly new face. Maybe Dominant D catches the right field. But to me, number 1, La Perfect B is the horse that I'm probably the most interested in. I think the rider change is key. This horse ran a huge race on debut at 5.5. If that race was 6 furlongs, this horse isn't in the race. That horse wins at 6 furlongs that day. And then ran at 5.5 last out. They tried to run at 6, slight bet scratch. With this rider named, I forget how many mounts they have on the card. Mercuria, but I don't think there was that many. Let me check. Yeah, this is the only mount on the card. So I think this horse is very live. Whether they're good enough to win, we shall see. But 4-year-old, I think this horse is super well intended in here.
Okay, so the 1 possibly gets added in there. Walsh, what were you thinking in here? The Ravelli horse has a lot of good horse, could have 3 or 4 bullets, has a lot of 2 out of whatevers, and nice maintenance drill on the last. We know it's going to be the favorite. Can we beat it?
I would definitely look at, not just the win pool, but if the 5-5 early doubles paying $3, you'll kind of know whether this horse is live or not. If the horse ends up looking pretty chilly on the board, doesn't look great on the track, something like that, I do agree with both of you guys. I would probably look to play probably 1 and 2 to start this out, just as horses who could end up tripping out. Good Yeg might have a race that can win in here if people don't fire. Same with La Perfect Bee. There's not much you can do with the 3 or 6. I don't think they look relatively unplayable. So if you're trying to get creative, I think you might have to get a little creative in this pick 5 to, put together a ticket worth it, playing. I would try 1, 2 here.
Okay. Well, I'm on the 2, Good Yeg. I mean, Good Yeg, we didn't see this horse for 3 years. Runs a bang out race off the layoff, had trouble in the last. Maybe it's got a new top today. Maybe we can upset the apple cart. And again, 7-2. It's a 7-year-old maiden. But I think we'll get an overlay on it. So, yeah, maybe I'll go 1, 2, Ravelli. I'll throw out Dominant D because I like Good Yeg better. I got a bunch of other singles that I like, and we'll go from there. All right.
Race 2, just kind of keeping with the theme. I think that's a spot to get creative.
Okay. Let's look at this. This is the starter series.
It's only a 5-horse. Yeah.
For the females. For the fillies. 9 panels.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Where are we going?
Well, you're starting with number 5, Izzy's Monster, who's
Right.
going to be an extremely heavy favorite in this race. And I am just not crazy about the current form cycle pattern coming into this race. On paper, it'll look like a horse that's just getting better and faster and in form. But from watching the race, had a favorable trip I thought the field was kind of on the weaker side back on May 25th, then had the lone flow trip to win on June 23rd, and then had to work pretty hard despite winning by 4 lengths. Again, people will just kind of see that and say, oh, dominant win, which she was on the day, but still had to work hard to get that win. Mm-hmm. And the complexion of the field, so it is different today. It's a different dynamic all around with number 1, Mo Smokin' in the field, who can push her and from the rail, and the 9 furlong distance is probably going to do just that. So Izzy's Monster has a bigger hurdle, not just herself to overcome, but also the pace scenario. And from that being, just trying to pick any holes in a favorite, especially in this early sequence where, like Steve Walsh says, you got to get creative somewhere. This would be that spot. The horse that I'm going to lean on, and Memphis Catch Queen has early speed as well. The horse I'm going to lean on in here is number 4, Timeless Glory, who I think will be overlooked just from the fact that number-wise, 1 has been running behind some of the others in the field. Number-wise is on the softer side for this level. But a horse that can pop with a big race from time to time, I think the rider change suggests some intent. No knocks on Rachel, but you can go back to the win with Hernandez aboard. I think that's kind of the key. Just trying to change things up ever so slightly. And even though the number-wise and finishing behind some of the others in the field are on the softer side, again, the dynamic changes everything, and that could just move Timeless Glory up to get the right trip in this field. And so I'm going to try to get creative in there. And I'd also use No Nanette No. He's probably going to be a little bit further off the pace for the 9 furlong distance, which seems to some extent would be the right move, but it isn't always. But she's a flow upgrade from the last race and can run better. So long story short, I'm going to try to get creative around, try to beat Izzy's Monster in here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's definitely going to be more of a rider's race. It's, you can't panic and you got to relax. And, we don't see a lot of 9 furlong races. These starter races are cool. We did see a big upset in the male version of this where we did, we thought that was a foregone conclusion. And that runner,
I didn't think so. I thought that
you didn't think
that
so.
won was the winner.
you didn't think so. That's right. If you go back and watch, you actually picked an upset that day. And I actually said he ran hard. He was trying to run down my dad's horse and might have, hurt himself doing that. And for the next race, and he did. Izzy's Monster, look, 2 to 5 morning line. As a horse player, you always trying to beat this horse. I thought the race, I mean, the last 2 races were kind of easy. At the same time, it's one, look, if you want to get bold and throw her off, okay. I probably wouldn't leave her off the ticket. She is in great form. I don't think she necessarily ran that hard, but you thought she did? Okay. Yeah. Well, okay.
She had to push the pace early. Then they kind of took back, and then she had to, extend herself again late. And it was,
well, they just didn't.
Even though it was very slow early, sometimes having to start and stop when there's not really pace to kind of close and make those moves into, it's tricky.
Okay. So,
but again, when she's had really favorable trips in those last 3. Eventually, maybe she gets another one. Maybe she's just good enough, but she hasn't had to face. Most Smokin' Last Out was kind of first start of the form cycle, and they're going to probably be a little bit more aggressive from the rail. This horse's best races are on or near the lead. So I just think it's a different dynamic in here. She's gonna have to run like another big race.
Steve, what were you thinking?
Well, I think with Izzy's Monster, it's either, this is kind of in our situation where you're singling that horse completely, or, you're looking elsewhere. You can't really do both ever with a horse this low of a price. I was a little interested in Memphis Cash Queen, mostly because I think the 1 has enough speed to push the 5. The Memphis Cash Queen has speed also, but I kind of think the horse might end up being a little too slow to go head and head with these 2, and might just kind of inherit just a perfect trip. You could make a case for a 2 or 4 if you're getting creative. I think they might be just a little too out of this level. You'll definitely get a price with them. But I could kind of see this 3 inheriting just a really easy trip if all goes well for him.
Yeah, I do like the 3 too. It's such a tough race. I have a hard time throwing the favorite out, but I like the 3 just for the fact for a couple of things. It did show it could rate it at Belterra before, and you're getting 7 pounds at this 9-panel distance. And that could be the equalizer if all things being equal. And if if Emily is right Izzy's
no weight break.
There's not a weight break. What am I looking at here then?
I'm not seeing one.
On my PPs, I see 7 pounds for Rachel. She's still a bug.
Oh, that's interesting because on Briz, she's
okay.
not.
Well, we're gonna have to verify that because if I'm getting if I'm getting a 9 pounds on the favorite, I'm very interested in that. She is a bug still. She doesn't have.
I think I have the early ones pulled up. So
all right,
you could be right. Yeah, getting a weight break.
So
yep,
that's where I'm leaning as well with this race being so contentious. And hey, if we're going to beat the favorite, I think it's going to be with Memphis Cash Queen myself. I didn't, go out on a limb and say, hey, I'm going to make a point in just betting this horse. I was just going to play the 3 and the 5 and the verts. In the horizontals, and then go from there. But the more I talk about it, and with Steve, on the piggyback, maybe I do put a win bet on the 3. And you know what? Maybe we do an exacta with the 4.
Make sure it's 2-4. Get really creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll really get paid.
As well. Exactly. If you're gonna use one closer, you may as well use both.
Yeah. Where do you guys want to go next? I got a couple of ideas, unless you guys got something.
We're probably in the same path, so go for it.
Okay. Well, look, let's go I have these turf races, and I have 3 turf races I wanted to talk about, and I'm worried about them getting washed off. And that's going to be problematic. But I guess we'll go to race 5, which is the family horse, and not only a family horse, but one that I think is going to completely dominate if we're able to stay on the turf. Actually, if we go to the dirt, we're running anyway. But I wanted to watch this replay of Dino's Dixie in the last. Dino's Dixie was butting heads with the horse by the name of Tightrope. And I told you, Emily, that we would at least get the lead for a little bit because we got great gate mechanics with this horse. And we pushing those in front of Tightrope here.
Alongside in second, and on the outside.
I think your horse is winning today as well.
Yeah, and Tightrope is just a monster. Pinned us on the rail. We got kind of tangled up here and kind of say, all right, you're going to go. We got pushed out of there a little bit. But if you watch, we're going to come again. And we did a lot of the heavy lifting here.
The outside,
we're going to come again.
Picks up the chase second. Dino's Dixie is third.
And what's going to happen is,
Ribs on a roll fourth.
Off the long layoff, we got a little tired, and a couple of these closers caught us.
And it's Tightrope, the leader by 5. Along the inside, Dino's Dixie. In between horses, 357. Then on the outside, Dragon Drew. Followed by
these guys are going to come get us late.
Outside for Racing Room, but up front, Tightrope has a 6 or 7 length lead coming to the wire.
Right there.
Tightrope is won it by about 6 in the end. It's going to be very tight for second.
So anyway, we're cutting back a half panel. The gate mechanics of this horse are just super great. I mean, it always works well. The work 2 back was sensational in preparation for that last, and we just knew. I mean, we were kind of just like, when we entered, we were like, how in the heck is Tightrope in here? There's going to be 20 shanks, another voided claim. That horse could have won the stake race on the card that day. That's how fast he ran. He got like a 91 buyer speed figure. I don't know what rag number he got, but Tightrope is kind of a crazy and unusual runner at Hawthorne, where I hope we don't see him in these claiming races anymore. But we're just going to bust out of the gate and go to the front and never look back. And I don't think there's a horse that can catch us. And same thing on dirt. So he worked good on dirt, and we're not worried if it moves from the turf to the dirt course. If it does go to the dirt course, the field's going to get scratched out even more. And I would imagine.
I mean, if they scratch the 3, then it's over. You're going your lone speed in there, and that's it. That's really the only horse that can potentially bother you is the 3. But like I said, if they scratch, then your lone speed, and that's lights out. But if there is some duel to some extent, I think that would benefit Grand Hideaway. But even still, he's going to have to work a trip. 5 furlongs is just a little bit different too. I'd lean towards speed with it being 5 furlongs.
The 3 was in that race with us last time, and we weren't worried about that one getting the front on us, and it didn't. And it took a horse like Tightrope to pound us into oblivion, and there's no Tightrope in here today. We should have the clear, easy lead. We got the perfect post draw. Open the gate and go and see you later. I would imagine. I'll make sure of it. I'm sure we're going to be the post time favorite.
At 5 furlongs, the 3 could show speed with you.
We'll find out about that, Emily.
Well, either way,
if they try. If they don't try, then no. But based on what the horse has run, it's not an opinion. It's based on fact.
Okay.
Yeah, you will have. You have an advantage this time around too, breaking from the outside. It didn't seem like your horse was really too comfortable just being on the rail. That last race couldn't find any rhythm on the backstretch, and then finally did some running once you're a little more clear. You should be able to just kind of make any decision you want. Honestly, the 3 out breaks you can sit right off them, and though I would probably guess this 3 will end up scratching. Just based on how our turf is going to be looking.
Okay, so if it goes to the dirt, that one's out anyway, and we just kind of...
Yeah, I can't imagine.
We walk a dog in a 5-panel race. That would be an unusual thing to say.
Stranger things have happened.
All right, well... anything underneath? You said Grand Hideaway maybe for an exacta, or what's going to plot up?
I'd leave the race alone until we know, but yeah, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, there might not be much in terms of an exacta because you'd be like kind of chalk.
Yeah, it's probably
in that case.
Probably not going to pay much.
No.
I hope it stays on turf, but if it doesn't, he's been training well on the dirt. He has one dirt race where he speed faded out, but many moons ago. And like I said, he's been traveling good locally. Where do you guys want to go next? I have 2 other turf races, and I feel like, oh my God, man, I got to cross my fingers and cross myself and hope the rain gods stay away. But
I'm the same in race 9. There's a horse that's extremely playable to me in there at a price.
Yeah, you probably like the same one I do.
Same horse I've liked for the last couple times. So
let's go to race 9 in case it stays on. I actually am on a horse in there at a price. Bally Baby. I don't know what you guys feel about that one, but
no, this is the horse I've been chasing since July.
Are you serious? No. This is the horse you're talking about?
Yeah, you can go back and watch the tape, and we've talked about this horse in the past. Yeah, because back on Invitational Day, that horse ran huge under similar conditions, and then was stepped up in class to run on July 6th and didn't have a great trip, wasn't ideal. And then the race on July 28th, that was the day that I talked about this horse quite a bit and ran another huge race. And
we know we have to watch this race. We have to watch this race because I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, I love watching Great Tana running here.
She's in. They're on the gate.
So we have to watch this. But Bally, yeah, we'll watch your action late.
They're off. Towards the inside, Great Tana showing speed, now splitting horses.
Yeah, I mean, there
goes Get the Candy, and Get the Candy takes the lead. Rambert picks up the chase second. Great Tana now.
She's in the hole that day as well.
Deli fourth. A Diva came
Bally
away
Baby's
fifth,
well off
day
the pace.
Sixth to the outside of that one, April's Gem.
She's back, way back here.
Bally Baby and Niff. Less than a half mile to go. They move around the turn. Get the Candy on the inside, Rambert on the outside, head and head, nose and nose for the lead.
There's a couple of reasons why I like Bally, and I'll bring it up. Outside of the visual here at the end.
Ellie Deli up on the outside, Summer Day and a Diva. Heads are turned for home, the nightcap. Get the Candy on the inside, Rambert right alongside, tipping 3 deep. Here comes Great 10 out in the center of the course. The others are far back, including Ellie Deli, followed by Bally Baby. A little more than a 16th to go. Great 10 up to get the lead. Get the Candy.
Nice energy late.
To the wire. Great 10 has the lead. Great 10 drawing away. Get the Candy.
We talked about this race. We talked about this race back on July 28th.
Nice gallop out. Nice gallop out.
And I made the case for her based on because she ran that same trip back on what did I say that was June 30th?
June 28th. Yep.
June 20th.
Oh no, June 30th of 24.
Yeah, it's the 30th because that was an invitational day.
Yeah.
She ran the same race, the replay that you just watched, like almost identical, like just a huge race, and that was a really tough race par coming off the layoff. And then that's what keyed me to her on July 28th, where she was a big number that day, 35-1. And you guys were talking shit on me that day when I picked this horse.
I was talking crap because I was so confident in Great Tana, but that was look, I'm back. I'm on this runner too today. I had the graphic all ready to go. We didn't talk. I threw it up there. A couple of things I want to point out. You have Frosted Eclair in here on the outside, who's going to show speed. Has shown more speed on dirt as opposed to the turf, though. But I'm hoping it can show a little bit of speed. I remember the day of the race, Brittany was talking about her 6, Get the Candy. And she was saying every time there's a horse on the outside of her, she kind of gives up when she has to eyeball somebody on the outside. And I never forgot that, And if Frosted Eclair can get out there and, make things uncomfortable early for her. And I can't imagine that they're going to run the 5. I mean, first of all, I don't know.
I don't think so either.
The tactics.
I think she's going to be a scratch.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, they have the same running tactics.
Well,
why not go in the next level allowance with this one?
Well, I mean, that she was so live. That was just last week. That horse took so much money.
And it's on the 11th, correct.
Pool. They bet the hell out of that horse.
Right.
So you have to come back. I mean, the only reason they'd run here is because they want to get rid of her and they think somebody's going to claim. That would be the only reason to run in this.
Correct. But I don't think that's. Yeah, she just ran. I think I don't know. Did they enter just to make the race go? But
I think that's what scared me a little bit about the 6. Yeah.
So I think they're going to scratch the 5, and what I'm hoping is the 8 can show a little bit more speed today. It normally doesn't show speed on turf as opposed to those dirt races, but if it could show a little bit of speed and eyeball the 6 a little bit, at least early enough, that can make her a little bit uncomfortable. And I think there's is there another speed? Yeah, the 2 should be able to show a little bit of zip. So if we can make things uncomfortable, early on for the Candy runner, I mean, Bali Baby after that last run, all that good energy late. I mean, just build off that. I looked at the race on August 8th, 10 days ago. That was kind of like a little maintenance thing. I don't know what they were trying there, the route, but just draw a line through that race. We're back sprinting.
Yeah, it's the same every other pattern that they've been running. Sprint, route, and the sprint races are the good races. So it's just fitness conditioning. Run a race rather than do a workout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Race was aboard back in that June 30th race. And I think that was kind of I think that could be a live tell as well. And maybe people will be like, oh, the rider, it's a different rider. Let's not use or whatever.
Yeah, if you think Get the Candy is also kind of like losing a little bit of luster off the jewelry there, or whatever you want to call it, the diamond, maybe she regresses a little bit too. She regressed a little bit last time. She really ran hard. I mean, they went 21-1, 44-2 last time. So I don't know. We'll see. She's kind of like getting the lead and kind of quitting right at the end anyway. And Bali might, or whatever, Bali Baby or whatever, Bali Baby might be ready to romp late. And 12-1, I'll take that all day long. Steve, what are you thinking?
I may actually kind of assume the chalk playing position here. I don't think anyone is remotely fast enough to keep up with Get the Candy. And
okay.
The only horse who would have been the stablemate who's going to scratch, and it's not like the.
Do you know that for sure? They are going to scratch.
Oh no, just assuming. But
yeah.
Also, even if the horse were to stay in the race, I can't imagine the instructions are go out and kill each other.
Yeah. What would be the instructions here? I mean, Brittany would have to
scratch and wait for another day. We got the race. Maybe if the race comes off the turf, but we're talking about a completely different race at that point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, if it comes off the turf, then the 6 will scratch and they'll leave the 5 in, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about a completely different race.
That I think
the
about
6
it coming off. This race would be just so all over the place in that case.
All right.
I think that's probably a good exacta though, 6-4 if you're playing.
Yeah, 4 over the 6 if I want to get bold or box them, but
yeah.
The other horse who I think is kind of similar in running style to the 4, who you could make a case underneath. I think Lip Liner getting back to this level should be pretty solid, and I would assume getting kind of the same trip as the 4. Same place.
Yeah,
nothing too exciting.
I agree with you there. And the same thing with Rare Action Attack, stablemate. I mean, Advanced Shoulders runners are just firing right now. That I think Rare Action Attack probably moves up back on the turf in the 3rd start of the form cycle as well. But again, that one's very pace dependent. But saving ground on the turf is such a key. Well, we'll see because the rails move. So rail being
we're how many feet are we out now?
10.
We're 10 feet out. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, with this runner here, Steve, you sold me. I mean, David Cohen's on there, so he's such a good, strong rider, and he just knows how to finish. I mean, he's really good. So, I definitely would want this one. This runner doesn't win often, 4 wins and 38 lifetime starts, but now it's getting down to a level where it could be more competitive, and definitely with the class drop at 7. It might find some more friends here and definitely run a bang out race today. But yeah, let's just hope it stays on the turf. If it doesn't, then all this stuff kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
In the background, I want to see a cat. Where's the cat?
Oh, she's milling about. Hold on.
I can hear her.
Oh, look at that thing. Look at the colors on that one, huh?
Oh.
Toy. Now, did you declaw that thing?
No, I like.
You didn't?
No.
I'd like to see what your couch looks like.
Horrible. So it bombed out and depleted.
You let that thing go outside once in a while, and you have like a mouse or a bird laying at your door?
Okay, so funny story.
Yeah, here we go.
This cat is a known assassin of birds. I've seen her line up on a fence post and midair tackle one that was taking off. It was one of the more impressive things I've ever seen. But I have a problem currently. I found a lot of bird feathers around my house the other day. Haven't found a bird yet, though. So there may or may not be a decaying bird in some corner of my house that I just cannot find.
Frost wants to get in on this. Frost is like, we're doing animal viewing.
We've seen Frost. We've seen Frost at the track.
Frost. Yeah, Frost is famous.
There's Frost.
He's here.
All right. What else?
Well, should we do a close out with a dirt race just to?
Yeah, let's talk about a dirt race because
the surface is going to be.
Yeah, let's get a dirt race in because I like another horse on the turf too. We'll talk about if we have time, but let's go to the dirt race that you're thinking about.
You don't know what dirt race I'm thinking about.
I know which one.
Let's see.
Or do you have one, Steve?
We
only got the 6th or the 8th, or did we talk about the 6th or the 8th race? We got an allowance race and we got a $10,000 claimer.
I am a little interested in White Lies in that 6th race.
Let's take a peek at it.
Allowance.
Oh yeah, love it.
I was looking at a horse in here. It wasn't White Lies, but this one looks interesting. It says, what does it say here? Entered on the 24th as well, huh?
Oh no, then they're gonna scratch. Oh,
how rude.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, okay, this horse
kind of negativity in my life. How sad.
Oh, why did they do that? This horse could win this race. So now what? Beehive should win. Then I think it's at that point.
Yeah, Beehive looks good. I actually, if everything was considered being equal, I was looking at the one Wilma Mankiller, but with Cohen showing some speed on there. But I was looking at Beehive too, and might get the perfect trip out there. And then if White Lies is out, don't have to worry about that coming from out of it and getting us. But I would imagine the 5 is going to be pressing the 1, and that would be your match race, unless.
I think the 4 also should be.
The 4 has a lot of speed. Yeah, the 4 has a lot of speed.
Yeah. 4 and 1 are going to push, and
that's why
you could try to take on the 3, who's had some pretty favorable trips in their most recent races. I think that's just kind of the play against, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't have a strong opinion here, but yeah, I see where you guys are going with White Lies, and man, it does look live in here. if
The
they
horse is a scratch. We can stop talking about
yeah,
it.
that's just
If it was a stakes race, they have the option to like run or not. But when it's not a stakes race, I think once you enter in another spot, you must
and they're not.
scratch
There's
from
no
this
stake
one.
on a Thursday, so
Yeah.
all right. Well, that's unfortunate. What? Well, I'm not sure what they were looking at. I haven't looked at Thursday's card deep, but
Wait. What was the date that horse was in?
it says the
22nd.
24. Oh, wait a minute. Am I looking at this right? It says
Entered
August 18th.
August 18th. Yeah. So.
Wait, today's the 18th.
Oh wait, in race 3. Wait
a minute.
Wait, this
I
horse.
thought it was.
Oh, this horse is cross-entered in the.
Oh, it's in this.
The other Patty Miller in the stakes.
I have the wrong date, you guys. I was looking at.
Got it. Okay.
I was looking at.
All right.
Yeah.
So it is entered in a stake, and it is going to probably scratch out of this stake race.
I would imagine. Yeah. So let's put it this way: none of us are on white lies in the stakes, and if they run in that allowance, big move up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it should set up perfectly for a late run, and you can see everything develop.
Yep.
The one other horse I was like loosely considering, since I probably can't bet white lies there, I might take a shot with Long Tall Woman. Working out a little bit. Has three decent enough works in a row, and I think could just get a trip. There's more than enough speed to close into that race.
Yeah, it looks like it's been getting a nice little catbird seat. It's making its 2024 debut today.
Yeah,
and you do have Mojica aboard.
Yeah, it's a pretty long or lengthy layoff, but at least entering back in at a decent level like this, looks good enough to me.
Work tab is so, nothing to, but I don't know if it was a strong workhorse all the time. Did have a bullet last year in July, but interesting. I might want to see one, but you never know. So yeah, with all these like cross entries and weather, man, we just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, if White Lies does stay in the race and we're able to settle and watch things develop and make one run here, Beehive is probably going to.
Oh yeah, sorry. Are we still talking?
No. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna just move on. I didn't know we were still talking.
No, I'm trying to talk myself into your pick, and I think I did because I didn't really spend a lot of time on this race, but I think if everything stays the same and we run in here, I'll be ended up landing on the 6. Okay, where are we going?
Well, it was just kind of the same talk about like picking one spot, like once you cross enter. So as far as race 4. There's a horse that came into with number 5, Written Consent. So Written Consent was entered on Thursday in a higher claiming event where I thought Written Consent made sense in that spot, and they're going to pick this spot instead. So I think Written Consent is pretty live in here. I don't think that's going to be any secret. But I just wanted to mention it just because of the same, like, entered in one spot, had to scratch, landed in this spot.
Okay. Was the other spot much tougher?
Yeah, they were going to run in a 12-5.
Okay. My notes say take a look at the 2 and the 4. Here's the 4, the 2. Yeah, I was just wondering if one of these can get the front speed of the speed. Which one would get the lead between these two and then keep going type of thing.
I think they both duel. And
you think they're going to pound each other into oblivion and then?
Yeah, Written Consent sits right off that pair and scoops them. Yeah.
All right. Duly noted there. One more race I want to look at before we close everything out is race 7.
Yay.
Race 7 is A other than on the turf going a mile. And I like who do I? Oh, yeah, I like the 3 here. Norman Hito. Is that how you say that?
That's
I
how
don't
I
know.
would say it.
Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, Joseph Belmer, he rode for us in Hot Springs at Oaklawn. I think this is his first start or day riding at Hawthorne, right? So
Hmm.
he's a bug still.
Way to
And
root for him. I think he had his first Saratoga mount this week, and
yeah, he's been
now
riding
he's
everywhere.
got his first Hawthorne mount.
Yeah,
And
so
this frequent flyer miles.
Only mount on the card. This one right here.
only mount on the card. Okay, so this runner here, obviously, it's better routing. The race 2 back was just way too tough at 5 panels. But routing here, I just think this one's going to be way tough. And I got a chance to meet his parents, and he was actually living in the basement of Linda Robbins for a little while at a farm down in
But we do
Arkansas.
love people that live in mom's basements.
Yeah,
That's not a knock.
yeah.
I'm
Well-
assuming that you didn't. But by the way you're describing this horse, I'm assuming you didn't watch this last race.
I didn't watch his last race. No, I didn't watch his last race.
I could tell, because if you watched that last race, you'd be talking about the trip, because that horse ran huge.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
That horse should have won that race with a better anything. That horse wins. They were probably.
Well, let's
day.
watch a little bit of it. Since I haven't watched it, let's fast forward a little bit. We're the 6. Let's see what the action looks like here.
Which is Norman Ito, and well, are you happy?
Excuse me.
At the start.
Here we are.
Around the first turn they go.
And what Joe Elmer loves to do, his idol growing up was Calvin Burrell, and he says he loves the rail. And sometimes he has gotten in trouble with it. So not watching the replay, let's see if that's what happens here. But
third place position, Flower Mound with a wide trip is now captured that third place position, and Just Great is in 5th position as they go down the back of the track. Norman Ito hasn't been asked yet, and still last of all is Well, Are You Happy Now? 4 furlongs out from before they greet the judge, and Disordered Dioro continues to make play. Planet Claire continues to glide along in that 2nd place position. Flower Mound's out deep on the track. Just Great is the meat in that sandwich. Sweet Miss Maggie continues to ride that.
Now right here, he would normally come try and look for a rail run somewhere, but he can't.
All you happy now? Still plenty of chances at that quarter pole looms. Still fighting.
He's got to go wide. Okay.
Dioro, but Planet Claire is right there, and she's getting ever so closer to.
Oh, was there? Okay.
Distorted Dioro still leading.
Well, he's running with good energy here against a good bunch here.
Yeah,
those horses came out a little bit.
Distorted Dioro leads by a long neck. Planet
now he's splitting horses.
Here's Norman Ito with a late split, but it's
they're closing in on him.
Distorted Dioro.
He had to grab him a little bit late, but let me see what the gallop out looks like. And you said there's trouble at the beginning. I didn't watch. I always like to see what kind of action they got. Yeah, he looks okay. But anyway, we're getting weight, and I think he's a good rider, and he's been at some tough circuits. You just mentioned, Steve, he was at Saratoga. I saw that. He was at Oaklawn, cutting his teeth. It's hard to win races at Oaklawn. And he gets good mounts here and there. But this horse should be live as hell. And I don't know, they had the blinkers on 2 back in that sprint, and like I said, draw a line through that. The other 2 races were tough. Comes in from France. It won a race out there in France, which is interesting at 7 panels. But this is the one I want to be on.
I like this horse as well, but I'm going to give the push to the 8.
You're going to give the push to the 8.
Yeah, broke their maiden here. Ran well, almost. I mean, ran actually extremely well at Oaklawn. There just come subtle trips in there. That horse is pretty decent.
Yeah, ran against some good. You mentioned the trouble trip. I actually have a trip note. Unfair start sandwiched in debut there, and I didn't even.
Yeah, the race, yeah, that's what I was saying. Those races at Oakland were kind of sneaky good, and then popped here on the turf. Just kind of
You know
needed
what?
a little bit of time.
They take this race off the turf. This is one with the issues that had at Oakland there. I didn't watch the replay of the second race there at Oakland on February 24th, but I do have a trip note on debut, and it does have a bullet at Ellis. So I would imagine this one will take, at least for me, I will be putting money on this one if it does go to the dirt.
This horse can run on anything. The trip in the second start at Oakland Park, that horse was like widest outside of horses on the pace, and they went fast early and fast late. So it was kind of a sneaky trip, but I think more than anything, they just wanted to get a reset and did just that, and has improved with each race. And I think this horse is going to hold value because people look and go, oh, the speed figures are really slow, blah blah blah. But this horse is faster. And that July 27th race was a complete excuse. That horse had to check early, then moved early, and then had another wide trip, and then was in hand late, getting back to Cologne, getting back here at Hawthorne. No worse for the wear. So I don't mind this horse on either surface. I think they're extremely live.
Okay. Well, Steve, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I definitely think this 8's playable. Especially second time out against winners now. Usually after you break your maiden, unless you're, really, really special, you're not repeating it most of the time. So that horse should move up. I think if this was to come off the turf, the 12's going to be a little tough there. Also, second time out against winners. Broke his maiden pretty impressively at Hawthorne. That horse, I think, will take a lot to beat. If it were to stay on the turf, this is another one that's kind of interesting speed-wise. I don't know whether anybody can keep up with Arcady Bug here. That horse might end up getting kind of a nice trip.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another race to just kind of watch for, whether we go on.
Yeah, slight stretch out. Last time in the 10 hole, couldn't get the front, showed speed in previous races. Probably a little bit of zip from some of these outside runners, though. The 10 stretching out. So I don't know if that would be problematic as far as but Julio Felix he'll show speed. I mean, he's a great turf rider. He can get the horse out and he can rate on the front. If they go, he can, sit off. You don't want to get the dreaded trip of death that we always talk about, though. You don't want to be laying second on the hip of a pace runner on turf, too wide. But yeah, if we listen, I'm all over the 8 if we come off. I don't think the 8 is beating my top pick if it stays on, but I will do an exacta either way. 3-8 if they stay on the turf, but if they come off, I would imagine the 3 would scratch. Because I do an Oaklawn show. I know all these Oaklawn horses. I didn't watch the February 24th race, but it looked like it was off a step slow and had some issues there. It had issues in its debut, and it still ran.
I watched the trip, and I told you what happened.
Yeah, no, I know you did.
You can guess what happened, or you can listen.
No, I know you did, but I want to go back and watch it and piggyback off of what you said.
I mean, if you want to talk about the trip of death, that was kind of it.
Well, I think the trip of death for us pertains only to turf, but I'm playing the 8 if it comes off the turf. That's where I'm getting at. I'm playing the 3 if it stays on. So good show, guys.
I think the 3 will be favored.
Yeah, the 3 will I'll make sure.
Yeah,
I'll make sure that the 3 is my favorite, especially if that's Joe Belmer's only mount of the day. He didn't.
When people see Brendan Walsh at Hawthorne,
so
yeah, exactly, and it has the big speed figure sitting on top. At least the numbers that I'm looking at has the highest figure sitting right on top.
Now that one's gonna run a big one.
Yeah,
guys, this was a good show. So if we get any updates at all, you guys, please share on Twitter what the weather conditions are, what the track conditions are, because I'm going to have to change my handicapping on the fly. I have all kinds of pick fives and doubles and everything written out here, and I'm going to have to just call a huge audible.
I think the main track will probably be fast. It'll just depend, and the turf will have some give to it if we're on, but it's always tough to tell because, as you guys know, living here in Chicago, like one area can get absolutely crushed with rain, and then one area not at all. So I don't like. Hold on, I just got. That's not a message.
You're going to weather.com as we speak.
I will say the last 2 days, it wasn't sustained rain, but it was like torrential downpour at the track.
So, well, we moved the rails out. Maybe let's move them out again after today.
Moving them.
No, I don't. I think they moved them out, and they're going to stay all the way until like.
Are they?
Until what? Like, Jim just told me.
Let me see what we got here.
The third week in September, or maybe even October. So we're not getting any more rain today. Rain is done. It's just
rain is done. Okay.
Yeah, rain is done. It's just a matter of, like Steve said. I mean, there were some spots that it rained hard, not for a long period of time, but for 30 minutes, buckets.
All right.
Buckets of rain. So, yeah.
So Jim's going to be out there walking the turf course.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get a message yet. So
he'll be out there.
They're just kind of waiting. But yeah, as soon as there's any update, I'll pass it along ASAP.
Cool. Well, guys, look for me in the winner's circle after race 5. I'll wave to everybody. Nice. Turf or dirt, we're going to the front, not looking back. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. Steve, thanks for joining in.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You're a pro, man, and I love seeing you at the track, and you're a good capper.
Well,
and
see you guys later.
As far as contests go, our next contest for our Hawthorne guys is not until Thanksgiving weekend.
That's not necessarily true. So we have the Benjamins tournament, which is it's kind of ongoing. It's every Sunday at the OTBs. It's a $100 bankroll live tournament. Whoever has the top is going to play on the last Thursday of the meet, which is October 8th? Is that right? 3rd or 8th?
I think that is right.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's the last, whatever that last Thursday is, the 10th, October 10th. And that's a $10,000 game. And it's just people that have won their way in. So that tournament will be October 10th. We're going to live stream it and everything. So shout out to everybody that's in the area. Well, Steve, if you come in, you can't play on track. It's just at the OTBs. But if you stop at the OTB, it's a $100 live cash. So you can get in and just put bets in ahead of time and qualify in. You can only get in on Sunday. So there's only like a few more spots, We're like running out of time. 6 more weeks to get in. So that is technically the next upcoming live tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, your regular
pop into Prospect Heights on the way down. It'll take you 5 minutes. Put in your bets. You're good to go.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, there's only.
I've done that before.
It looks like only seven more opportunities to qualify. So.
Okay.
Make sure.
And so whoever wins each qualifying day goes into a big tournament later. All those winners.
Correct.
And it's just one guy a day. And they all meet each other on October 10th, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, maybe I'll sneak in and do something.
Yeah. It's $100 bankroll tournament, so it's not going to take much to win most of the time.
You just got to go,
and some of the weekends, there's not even that many people playing. You've got like a 1 in 10 chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Maybe we'll get some more players that play in that. There's all kinds of OTBs across Chicagoland. The nearest one for me, unfortunately, is Prospect Heights, but it's on the way down to Hawthorne for me. All right, guys. Happy Sunday. I'll see you at the track, Emily. I don't know if you're going to be around there, Steve, but
I'm on the way there now as soon as we get off, so I'll see you.
All right, guys.
Nice.
Thanks
All
for
right,
joining in, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.